Howdy, all of you delicious people. I'm here today to review She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Season 1, Episode 5. So, I want to tell you guys should go on and have a sense of urgency to pre-order right now all of the Avenger products that was shown on this show. You may think I'm joking, but I'm being serious. All the shirts and all the stuff that you saw on this show is going to sell like crazy. And I want you guys to be able to pick up some Avengers product and, like, just show off your sweet swag for either the shirts or the hammers or, of course, any other product that seemed to have been showcased to waste our time in this She-Hulk episode, besides actually giving us a legitimate She-Hulk episode. The one thing that I had came upon thinking in this episode is, man, Werewolf by Night, that movie is going to be the bomb. Not only do we have Werewolf by Night in a Werewolf by Night movie, but then we also have, like, Man-Thing and Elsa Bloodstone. That is gonna be sweet. I can't wait to see that film, and I don't care how garbage it is, because at least it'll tweak or raise my interest in something Marvel-related compared to, of course, whatever product they give us right now at the second it's recording. So, with that said, there of course is a Easter egg in this episode. If you have not seen this yet, I will go on and tell you, before we even get to spoilers, what that Easter egg is, to make you decide whether or not to watch this episode. And believe me, like, to find this Easter egg is not worth having to sit through this entire episode. So, with that said, we are to, of course, end up recycling certain characters from previous episodes, and I will legitimately have names for them, because for some reason somebody spent time to name these people. Not only that, we go on and we have to add in characters that are to probably just be more people that they just made up for the show, even though there could have been an MCU or Netflix equivalent character that they could have honestly added in here to have me go like, well, yeah, this episode sucked, but look at that one character they added in. Ooh la la. No. We didn't go in that direction, because if She-Hulk herself were to tell you, hey guys, yeah, like, out of all the cameos and stuff that we had, and, like, I don't think we had a lot of cameos, but wait, in every single episode we had a cameo. There isn't one in here. Because this show desperately needs that to continue to be relevant, because without it, obviously in this episode, it falls completely flat. So with that said, let's go on and tee this episode up. So, from the last episode, we go on and we find out that She-Hulk is to now be TM'd, trademarked. And so this delivery guy is to deliver She-Hulk her cease and desist. And so She-Hulk is to not only take the time to figure out how, through her friends, to get a new pair of slacks, a new thing of clothing, but then to also desperately need to turn around and figure out how she can legally keep her name She-Hulk and fight out Titania in a courtroom. And I'm not talking about fisticuffs, legs, hits, impact, nothing. lawyers who are going on and fighting the legal system so that way She-Hulk can go on and obtain her name legally. And so then we have to recycle the match dates, and we have to go on and have this designer character that is to eat up a bulk of this episode, as well as She-Hulk, going to this gallery of Titania selling all of these snake oil-like products. And that seems to be, in the nitty-gritty, the whole entire episode. Right then and there. There isn't anything going on beyond that, sadly enough. So now, like I had said, the Easter egg of this episode, the only thing that, of course, is worthwhile watching, but leads to nothing. And it wasn't the Wrecking Crew. That was, again, I'm like, so we've had not only 1, but 2 weeks now without the one team that was, I think, the best thing coming out of this whole entire show, worthwhile to watch. Just see the Wrecking Crew, and then they don't use them again? Huh. But not only that, the Easter egg. Come to find out, the Easter egg is none other than Daredevil's yellow helmet. And so that, which we've already technically seen pictures of, that is to be like, oh my god, let me just blow my load and No. That was to be just like, man, I hope somebody can just take this clip and put it somewhere on YouTube, so then I don't have to go on and watch this whole entire episode. Because it would be worthwhile if someone could just could somebody pirate that clip and then just put it on YouTube so I don't have to watch this episode? How could we have gone on and figured in this episode that She-Hulk is going to lose her ability to call herself She-Hulk? Was anybody thinking that that was going to turn out to not benefit She-Hulk? So, this episode is to clearly become the worst episode in this entire show so far. It's unwatchable, even though I sat through it and I was like, what am I doing here? And why are they wasting 30 minutes of my time? And so it feels like Ms. Marvel is becoming a more productive show than whatever this is. And I left that show halfway through. And so, man, this show better give me something, or I'm going to be getting out of here. I think I'm going to have to look into the trailers for next week to see what they do. Or otherwise, I'm just like, you know what? If they're not going to give me Wrecking Crew again, if they're not going to get productive with this show, like, what is the point? Really. I'll wait till Werewolf by Night comes out and be just blown away by that movie, because at least it'll give me something. So with that said, let's just go into that double five. Let's go into spoiler time, because it's about that time again. Let's go into spoiler time. Spoiler time, it's about that time to spoil this episode. So I'm just going to go on and just kind of fling around with the episode. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't. So, come to find out, we, of course, have She-Hulk, who is to go on to realize that She-Hulk is to be trademarked by Titania. And so She-Hulk is to be like, well, hey, why is it that this person can own my name? Like, that's what I've been called. And how is it that she could tell me to no longer be called by this name? Yada, yada, yada. So, because Titania, like, isn't calling herself She-Hulk. Like, she doesn't really have anything up until a point that is like, okay, why can she just take this name? So we have She-Hulk, who is to go on to meet up with Holloway, and it seems that Holloway won't go on and like have anybody go on to take her on or take her case on. And so we then have Jennifer, who's deciding, well, I guess I have to go to some other place to find some other attorney, and that of course ends up being a woman named Mallory Book. Who cares? Anyways, Book. So I would have said, like, you could have rolled in a Jessica Jones character here that I know is a lawyer. You could have tied in a certain Foggy Nelson. You could have tied him into this show, because if you need cameos anyways, because you desperately do, Nelson could have easily been like, oh my god, if we can't get Charlie Cox, we can't get Daredevil, we can get close, right? We can get really, really close. So, but anyways, we F off with that. So, we have Book, who is going on and telling She-Hulk, it's like, well, you know what, you need to really start wearing something that's actually presentable in court, that actually looks good on you. And so we finally have Jennifer that is to break down to Nikki and Pug and just be like, hey, I need to get some new duds that'll finally fit me. And plus, when really looking at it, like, Jennifer is getting loads of money anyways from this attorney job, even though more than likely Holloway is probably paying her like the bare minimum. But either way, Jennifer squawks to Nikki about like, yeah, I really need a new outfit. I need a new wardrobe. So we then go on and have Pug, who coincidentally needs Nikki to come with him to wait in line for these Iron Man 3 products, whatever they are. Is someone going to go on and merchandise those? So, I think Pug was saying that the Iron Man 3s are like sneakers, and so evidently Pug goes on and is to buy one pair of shoes for display, and then also is to buy another pair to wear. And so that's why Nikki is going along with him. And so Nikki is like, well, if I'm going to go on and do that, like, you're going to owe me one, but I'm going to have you owe me one now instead of owing me one later. And so, because Pug is to find out that there is this specialty designer and that is to go on and do superhero stuff. So Nikki's like, well, do you think that this person can design for a superhero? And Pug is like, yeah. So we have Nikki that's like, okay, you're going to tell me where this shop is so I can go on and make an appointment or get some clothes for Jennifer. And Pug is just like, well, okay. So these two end up going on to what would be assumed is some restaurant. And so we turn around and have both Nikki and both Pug, who go on to find that this guy, this store owner, is to who we thought was a restaurant at first, ends up having this like back alley, like Avengers merchandise, like kind of hidden store, and he is to have like Thor hammers and goofy looking Captain America shields, and so all of a sudden both Nikki and Pug have to buy all this like knockoff merchandise to then turn around and go to the legitimate designer, who of course is Luke Jacobson. And he, of course, is to make an appointment with She-Hulk, as Nikki is to go on and say, "Oh yeah, like She-Hulk, she's an Avenger." Well, yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, she'll be an Avenger at some point. Like, wait a minute, like I thought you said she was an Avenger. It's like the deal hasn't been made yet, but it's gonna happen. So we also from last week, evidently Donnie Blaze's assistant was Cornelius P. Willows. Did anybody really care? Was that character going to be re-enrolled in other episodes? No. But I thought I would just mention it here because we're having so many other characters that were from last week. But so, with that said, we have Jennifer that goes on and meets with Book, and comes to find out her co-worker is to be Todd, the guy who is consistently telling Jennifer, it's like, well, could you be hurt from vibranium and this and that? And so, like, Todd was kind of interested in what could hurt this girl, as he's a big fan from the one time that he barely got to see She-Hulk fight anybody. But he's a massive fan for some goofy reason. So, Book and Todd are to make their way to Jennifer, and so Jennifer and Nikki are kind of whispering about how creepy this guy was. And so, come to find out, Book is to figure out what she can use to try and win this case. And so, Book ends up going on to assess that there have been times in the press that Jennifer has gone by the name She-Hulk, and so since that name for She-Hulk has been already established prior to Titania going on and selling these beauty products and her trying to trademark She-Hulk, which Jennifer goes on to this gala to see all these products and confront Titania to tell her to stop. And Titania's like, well, no. Like, I'm selling all these products and you need to stop going by the name She-Hulk. And so, and that ends up being like the kind, like, there is no fight there. There is no nothing besides like, I'll see you in court. So they go on to court, and so they end up going on to use press footage where at some point Jennifer is to go on and say that she hates the word She-Hulk, it's derivative, and that she never wants to go by the name again. That, of course, is what Titania's lawyer throws out there to be like, yeah, like, look at this. Like, she doesn't want to ever go by the name. And then Book ends up using a interview that we already saw in a previous episode, so we're just wasting tape now. And so Book is to have an interview where Jennifer is to say that it seems that she will forever be known as She-Hulk, and that will be her name, and so on and so forth. And so, to go on and kind of counter that moment. And so, we really have the Judge at this point that's just like, okay, but like, you know what, like, She-Hulk and Book, like, your case is very thin, so like, if you guys don't legitimately have a thing to come in with here, like, I'm going to have to just uh go with Titania rather than you. I'm gonna have to just say that she wins. So we turn around and we have Jennifer, who's trying to think of a way out of here. And then she realizes that she had gone on Match.com and she had put up a persona up as She-Hulk and showed a picture of herself and went on all these speed dates or all these dates with all of these guys. And so now She-Hulk has to turn around and take every one of these guys who were previously dating her to now put them all up to court to now have them say, like, yeah, this girl was She-Hulk, and like we dated, and this is how I felt about her, yada yada yada. I think, were some guys that I think they added in there that I don't remember seeing previously, but I guess maybe that's just me. But anyways, so we had Derek, who was David Atunga, who, and luckily I got that name right. We had Derek, who came back and was to mention how She-Hulk was talking about, like, yeah, I'm She-Hulk, yeah, that's me, blah blah blah, and Derek just kind of was like, about that. So we also had certain other guys that were saying, like, well, I'm an author, and or I'm a writer, and like, I took offense to like how she was talking to me, and we also have Todd, who is to mention about his date, and so on and so forth. And we also had the Arthur, who is to go on and say, like, yeah, like, I was interested in She-Hulk, I thought she was incredible, but the other her, not so much. And so we weirdly just still have She-Hulk that is looking at Arthur as if, like, maybe that's just going to be a booty call for her, like, so at least she'll get some something, because that's what I'm thinking here, that they're going to just continue the relationship between She-Hulk and Arthur, because it seems like he's a nice guy compared to all the other guys, and it doesn't seem like She-Hulk is going to be getting any other dates anytime soon, sadly enough. So it seems that after we go on and we do this, we have the lawyer that's like, or we have the judge that rules in She-Hulk's favor. Yeah, keep your name, yada yada, who cares? And that the judge is now telling Titania that she's going to have to recall every single one of her beauty products that are basically snake oil, as Jennifer was to look through this gallery and was to see there was like stuff out there like Venom and like all these kind of snake names. And so Jennifer is just like, this is literally snake oil. Every one of these products are all literally snake oil. And so I'm assuming in the near future, every single one of these products are going to legitimately be a thing. You watch. Disney is going to go on as a joke to sell every bit of all of this crap to try and make a buck. It'll fail miserably, but they're going to try anyways. And if they don't, I would be freaking surprised. Or if somebody is to not already be turning around and just be like, wow, that's a good idea. Let's sell all this off. I bet we're going to go on and see some Avenger shirts somewhere on eBay that somebody's going to be printing out like crazy. Like, hey man, yeah, let's get these out there, yeah. How many colors do people want? Yeah. So it's going to happen. check out your eBay to see if there's going to be some Avengers products, because there is going to be. There's going to be some snake oil, She-Hulk beauty products that people are going to be recycling to sell. So, with that said, after we just go on and have that legal battle that has to suck up most of this episode, we then turn around to have She-Hulk, who is to finally go to this designer, and we of course have She-Hulk, who is to go from She-Hulk to Jennifer to desperately need this designer to find some kind of wardrobe for her to wear. And the wardrobe is the wardrobe guy, who of course is to be Luke Jacobson, is to be asking, it's like, well, like, do you need it to be bulletproof, water resistant? Like, what do you need? Like, do you need it to hold weapons? Like, what are you looking at here? And She-Hulk is just like, I just want it to, like, I just want it to, like, fit me. And Luke is like, no, I don't do that. I know. So, we have at some point where Luke is to just give She-Hulk, hey, here's these items, here's this thing, here's that. We don't see what any of it is. So that is a massive waste of our time. And so we go on here to have at the end of this episode where Luke is to go on and turn to his assistant and be upset because it seems that there is to be a product for another superhero that is just like a box that is open, lying in the open for someone to go on and see, which is to be every single person who watches this episode, which of course is the yellow Daredevil helmet, which, for those of you that don't understand why Daredevil's helmet is yellow, it's because in the comic books, there of course was a design for Daredevil where he was yellow and red. And so I guess for the Born Again Netflix show, they're going to go on and deliver you the yellow design, because technically that is how the comic books was to go. But I'm assuming that they're going to turn around and give you a kind of either black or dark gray design of the Daredevil suit. I think that's where they're going to head. They're probably going to head into the more like Shadowlands design of Daredevil. So I think that's technically where they're going to go after this first initial, like, hey, here's this character, he's back. And then they're going to shift to a much more like Shadowlands, darker looking design. So that way they don't have to go, I'm assuming, back to the red. So they can just kind of skip around and just be like, hey, here's Daredevil and he looks different. But to also just try to merchandise things out, which is okay at the end of the day if that's what they're going to do. So, with that said, I think that covers most of this episode, because there was nothing really going on. There was nothing going on. So, with that said, I'm just going to get out of here, so that way I can go on and quickly wrap this up. So, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. There wasn't any end credit scenes, because I really skimmed through and I found nothing. I'm like, oh, so they just finally decided to not waste their time on an end credit scene that no one gives a about. Good idea. Because probably more than likely they saw the fan reaction of a bunch of people that were all just like, F this show is garbage. It kind of seems like for 20 people that probably hate this show, there's probably a few people that do like it. So for any reason that I'm going on and on this show, I can't help it because I'm being honest. It's my opinion, and if people love this show and they hate the fact that I have to be grumpy about it, really, I'm being grumpy always because, like, I want a product that I actually like to be good. I wouldn't be taking the time if I really hated something to go on and um like want to just bash it and just say that I hate it. Um unless really it was something that it's like, well, like I had to watch this, so like I have to value my time. Um but in this case, uh really I was to like see some potential in this show, but man is that gone. Uh so with that said, I'm gonna get out of here. Bye everybody. Bye everybody.